will be your host, Stephen Kono, and I will be bringing you the best bands the Inland Empire has to offer. Giving you a full hour of their music and having them in studio for a live on-air interview. Only on Coyote Radio, right here, right now.
And welcome to Lunchtime Live. Coming to you live from the campus of California State University, San Bernardino. This program is brought to you by our friends out at Mountain High. Mountain High, if you've had enough homework, right under the stars, every Wednesday through Sunday from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m. only at Mountain High. Today, Stephen Kono is joined in studio by our guest, George Jauss, lead vocalist with George Jauss and the Messenjah. He is in studio with us here today. Stay with us. A lot of interesting information about this phenomenal Inland Empire band and the man behind the band. And now, without further ado, here is your host, Stephen Kono.
And it is that time. It's time for Lunchtime Live with the one and only, the myth, the legend, George Jauss. Or Jauss, I'm sorry. First of all, how did you guys come up with George Jauss and the Messenjah?
Well, I wanted to give credit to the band. Didn't want it to just be all about me because everybody contributes. So I grew up listening to a lot of Bob Marley, and I figured, hey, Bob Marley and the Wailers worked. We'll just go with George Jauss and the Messenjahs.
Well, it's not messengers as
right.
in it's Messenjahs, Jahs.
Right, because we bring them positive. We try to talk about God and Jah, throwing that at the end it's kind of like a hidden.
Yeah,
thing,
every time I have to say it, I'm mellowed out. I mean, it's not messengers, it's Messenjah.
Messenjah.
Yeah, you see, it kind of just flows.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. We like it.
I mean, I think everyone likes it. Messenjah is just right off the tongue.
Yeah, because every song we try to drop on everyone, we try to bring like a positive message. So it kind of ties back into the whole thing that we're all about, is just trying to put some positive stuff out there.
So you guys are based out of Victorville? Is that?
Yeah, I live in Victorville. Steve Mersman lives in Wrightwood.
Steve Mersman is
the drummer.
The drummer.
He's an amazing drummer. And then Dean Dixon lives in Hesperia, and he's the lead guitar player and keyboard player. And then so we have a bass player that we have a couple different bass players we're using right now, but they're all from Victorville. So
for sure. And then last week we had a band called The Mirror. They're pop. Before that we had a Cali pop band. You guys took the more of a reggae feel.
Right.
George Jauss and the Messenjahs is for the most part labeled as reggae.
Right.
Why choose reggae?
I think there's a lot of cool things about reggae. Everybody can it's kind of like a universal kind of music. Whether you like Bob Marley or you like Sublime or you like some of the new stuff, some of the dance hall stuff, everyone can kind of relate. So if we're going to be bringing a message that's positive and in a negative place, and there's usually a lot of negativity going on right now, we wanted to bring a universal kind of sound that everyone could relate to. So we could deliver that message and bring people up.
Mm-hmm. And given that you guys do reggae, and I noticed what you just told me that you guys aren't from the same area, how did you guys form? Like, how did you guys start a band, or why did you, for the most part?
I love reggae, and I wanted, if I was going to do reggae, I wanted to do it right. So I wanted to get a good drummer, and I knew somebody. I had a friend that I grew up with that his father knew this guy. He'd been playing with him for a while, and we got a gig at the first Bob Marley day that they had here on campus. And I was like, I got to get this guy on board, because if we're going to go out there to a Bob Marley tribute show, I can't have some guy from a garage band playing. I got to have somebody that's really going to put it down. So we got him, and then we filled it in from there. But me and Steve Mersman, the drummer, we pretty much started this whole thing up. And
then how did you go about getting the other pieces of your band, and why did they fit in so well?
Steve and Dean Dixon, who's our guitar player, they've been playing together for like 10 years. These guys are seasoned pros. They've been in the business for a while, and they've played with a lot of different bands. They've been on the road a lot, and they're great guys. So we just that whole thing worked. The three of us worked, and then all we needed was just find a good bass player. So and they contribute well to the songs. They know what they're doing, so they always bring the right stuff.
Was it like a group deciding that your name would be just George Jauss and the Messenjahs?
I said...
Is there any jealousy that goes on in the band with...
No, it's kind of weird because I'm the one that has the issue with it. I guess because I feel like, I don't ever want to be looked at like self-righteous, you know. So it's kind of like we've had talks about just calling it the Messenjahs or coming up with a different name, but they really like it. So for some reason, I don't know, maybe they don't like the spotlight to be on them. But at first I wasn't that cool with it, you know, because I was like, dang, everyone's going to think I'm like this conceited jerk. But I
don't think anybody could say that about you.
But because they bring so much to the group, Steve is our main man. He runs our sound. He's the one with all the PA equipment. And, But yeah, so there's never been any jealousy. There's jokes, but
I bet. But anyway, I mean, no one's gonna mess with you anyways. You're 6'5"?
6'5", pushing over 300. So.
Yeah, I'm not messing with you. There's no chance.
Not sloppy though. I'm looking good.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm a big guy. I came from a big family, so.
Which is another thing. Like you really don't you don't fit into like the how would you say?
Like the stereotype.
Yeah, the stereotype of reggae.
Yeah.
Like how are you accepted? Like when you go to shows and you say, "Oh yeah, I play reggae."
Well, a lot of people, when they see me, I got the long hair and the ponytail and all that, and they think I'm I'm going to be in this metal band or something.
Yeah.
But I'm a big dude, but I'm a mellow guy. So I love mellow music. I listen to a lot of Jack Johnson and a lot of reggae, a lot of old school roots and stuff like that. So at first they don't know what to think, and then I think after they hear some of the music, they're like, okay, I feel what he's doing. I'm into this because. I try to talk to people a lot when we play and just kind of let them know, like, here, we're not here to try to pretend, we're not Bob Marley and the Wailers. We're all white guys and we're from California. So we kind of try to bring like that California reggae feel. We don't try to, be what we're not. So
then George Jauss and the Messenjahs has a CD out?
Yes.
Is it just the one CD that you guys have out right now?
Yes, it's called Strength and Love. And we recorded that last year and I think we've sold over close to 1,000 so far.
Really?
So we did a lot of gigs down in the Orange County area, a lot of beach gigs, and we sold a ton of them. So
for sure. Actually, we're going to get into a song from Strength and Love.
Oh wow!
Off that CD, it's called "One and Only," right here on Coyote Radio. One and Only from George Jauss and the Messenjahs. We have George Jauss here with me at the moment, and we just got into you guys recorded that Strength and Love album.
Yes.
Is that for most part? Would you consider a demo?
Yeah, that's actually a kind of a demo. We wanted to get something out because we started getting all these gigs down in Orange County, Sunset Beach, Huntington Beach, Newport, all that, and then we got a gig down at the Key Club in Hollywood, and we didn't have a product. And we'd been playing, and we just didn't have time to stop and record. So we were like, we got to get something out there to sell. We got all these people loving the band. We got to make some money,
Yeah, seriously.
But, gas isn't cheap. So we did that, and we did that at Steve's house. He has a home studio there, and he knows what he's doing. So it came out pretty good.
And then do you guys plan on distributing your like a demo out to record labels? I noticed you guys are still an indie band.
Yeah.
Do you guys plan on do you want to stay indie and try to do it yourselves, or are you guys trying to get promoted and come up with a record label that would take you guys?
We definitely want to get it out there. As far as the indie thing, there's not, as far as I know, there's not a whole lot of indie labels for reggae groups right now. So what I'm looking into right now is actually researching a lot online last night about different labels that are actually accepting unsolicited material. There's a lot more out there than people think. It's not a complete closed door. So there's a few out there that I'm looking into right now.
Yeah, and then you said there's not a lot of reggae record labels, but you guys took like a different approach to reggae, where you guys kind of meshed a rock feel with reggae.
Right, right.
So wouldn't you think that you guys could be picked up maybe by a kind of a mellow rock label?
Yeah, I grew up listening to Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and when I was about 13, I started listening to Bob Marley and the Wailers, which is completely opposite kinds of music.
Yeah,
and it kind of comes through that way. Like, I love the reggae sound, but I wasn't born in California, but I was raised in California, and I really brought that folky kind of writing style into the reggae sound, and I would love to get a deal with Warner Brothers or something like that, definitely. And that's where Tom Petty's at right now.
Yeah, I mean, and then when you guys go out and play, do you guys just say you're reggae, or do you say you're a reggae rock band?
Kind of like a reggae fusion, we call it. Kind of like reggae rock fusion, yeah. Yeah, because, I don't think dreadlocks with blonde hair looks that great, so I'm not trying to hate on anyone out there, but... I
think you can pull it out. No one's gonna mess with you. We went over this. We went over this a little while ago. Like, nobody's messing with you.
I almost did it one time, but me and my sister talked about it, and she was like, I don't know, So, but definitely, we don't try to pretend. I don't go up there. There's a lot of reggae groups out there that, I met a reggae group I went and saw, and I'm not going to say any names because I don't want to put no one on blast. But when I met him, he talked just like me, but as soon as they started performing, he suddenly was from Jamaica. So we try not to go that route. We just try to keep it OG and keep it,
keeping it OG.
Yeah, that's right.
I like that feel.
Yeah.
Right now we're actually gonna take a little break.
There's a new girl in town. She likes to spread her love all around. Johnny, won't you dig in? Boy, I like how you get down. All of the people. Whoa. Johnny, come lately. There's a new girl in town. Yeah, she likes.
Today being joined in studio by George Jauss, lead vocalist of George Jauss and the Messenjah. So without going on any further, here is your host, Stephen Kono.
Thank you, Miss Lacey. Bring me back. Awesome as always. We right before the break, we were talking about you guys playing that style of music.
Right.
And you mentioned you guys played a lot in Huntington Beach or
Sunset
Beach, LA.
Right.
What are probably the biggest venues that you've personally enjoyed playing at?
I've with the band.
Yeah, with the band.
We really like I would say, like, we like big venues, but we've done the Orange County Fair, and that's a huge venue. There's always a big crowd there, and we've done that. I've done that with Steve twice, and we're going to be doing that this year again. But we like the small venues because you can really get a chance to get a feel for the people there. You get kind of a personal vibe going on, and you're able to market yourself better. And actually, we were playing so much down in Orange County and in Sunset Beach that we would come and we'd set up and we'd be like, dang, there ain't nobody here, and then all of a sudden they just rush in. Not like rush in like a football field, but they come in over throughout the set, and they were singing our songs, and it's like, what? We don't even know airplay right now, except here at Coyote. But people down there, I don't. And then so I was like, hey, if they like our songs, here's some. I started promoting your guys' station, and
which is greatly appreciated. Appreciated, by the way.
And you guys have always been good to us, and but yeah, they're singing our songs. I'm looking out, and they're smiling at me, holding their beer up, and I'm just like, okay, cool. They like it.
They're digging it.
Yeah. So we got a great response down there.
Well, you have a great response down there. I know you also have a great response here on campus at Cal State San Bernardino, where you guys play the Bob Marley Fest here on campus.
Oh yeah.
Can you get in a little bit about that?
Yeah, that started in 2009 of June. Tamara Holder, that heads up the Cross Cultural Center, who's an amazing. I love working with her. She's really easy to work with, and she knows what she's doing. And all the people that work under her are very professional. Big ups to the Cross Cultural Center over at Student Union, and yeah, we started that 4 years ago, and it's been going strong since. There's a bunch of bands that are doing it. Livingstone, who's a band here on campus, has done it. Roscoe Welling has done it a couple times, and then Divine Crime jumped in this year. So
nice.
Bunch of great bands. great event. If you've never been to it, you're missing out. This is something that's growing here on the campus, and it's free. That's the best part.
That's a good way to get people out to a show.
I know for a fact that they're dropping some serious money on these bands, and it's a shame if people don't come out, because they're getting to see these headlining acts for free.
Yeah, well, the last 3 years they have the Bob Marley Fest in like summertime.
Yeah, well, it's been on Bob Marley's birthday the last 3 times. The first time was in summer, but yeah, they changed it for more like a Bob Marley birthday kind of deal. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah.
So for the most part, through 2009, 2010, your band basically was just traveling around the same area, doing little bar shows. Would you say?
Yeah.
What was probably, how would you put it, your outlook of those past 2 years? Like, what did that do for your band?
Definitely, us being a new reggae group. Reggae is a very you got to be tight.
Yeah.
You got to sound really good, because it's a syncopated kind of music. So if you're off, everyone's gonna know it. And you know, especially when you're playing at the beach, it's like everyone wants to hear Sublime or do some Marley. And so, in able to play those songs, your song's got to be sounding just as tight. 'Cause, you know, if you play a Marley song and then you play one of yours and everyone leaves, that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it's kind of the same deal.
So to start of 2011, what does George Jauss and the Messengers have planned?
Well, we just did the late 2 weeks ago. I think it was last weekend actually. We did the Bob Marley Day here on campus, and we played second with Living Stone headlining and Divine Crime opening for us, and it was great. It was great. Once again, Tamara Holder came through, and it was a great night. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing a couple shows here and there, trying to get in over at Mountain High, and maybe do some stuff in Wrightwood. But right now, what we really want to do is focus on recording for the next couple months, and we got some really, really good stuff that we haven't been able to put down on tape that we just can't wait to get out there. So that's the plan for the next couple months.
And then, as far as I know, you've come in here a number of times. Really cool guy. You're also a solo artist,
right? Kind of weird.
Yeah. So you're just George Jauss as well.
Yes. Well, that's kind of how I came into this whole thing. Is I was a solo artist, kind of doing my own thing and putting bands together here and there. But that's what's cool about working with Steve and Dean, is they got my back on that too. So. Yeah, I got a solo album out that came out a few years back.
That's really cool. Actually, right now we're going to get into one more song from George Jauss and the Messenjahs.
Yeah.
The Messenjahs.
Jauss.
It's called I Don't Want to Fight.
Higher liberation for me. You don't have to fight, just gotta believe. 'Cause our king is gonna be returning. I don't wanna fight no more. I don't wanna fight.
And that was I Don't Want to Fight from George Jauss and the Messenjahs. Right before that song, we were getting into George Jauss is also a solo act, where you have is that your side project, you would say? Is just...
Yeah, well, I've been writing. I started writing songs when I was 13, so I'm always a songwriter, and some stuff doesn't come out, isn't always right for the band, so I just throw it to the side. But before I was in the band, I was doing a lot of solo stuff, and I was working with Keith Taylor at Custom Taylor Studios. You can check him out at customtaylorstudios.com.
Keith Taylor sounds like a familiar name.
Yes, James Taylor's cousin, and he's been in the business since the 60s. He's worked with the Eagles. He's done masters for Pink Floyd.
Yeah, definitely a good guy to have on your side.
I mean, he's in the game. He's one of those guys behind the scenes that makes magic happen. So, but yeah, he produced this album, Running Free, that we did, and it was just, it was awesome.
Running Free is your solo.
Yes.
CD. Is that would be a demo of your CD? Because I know
it's actually a full-length album.
Yeah, because it has
14
songs on it.
Yeah, you can get it at cdbaby.com online. Just type in George Jauss, and you can purchase that on there.
And actually, we're actually going to go into a song real quick right now. It's called "Running Away" from Running Free, the album by George Jauss. CD Running Free by George Jauss. Now, during our break, or the song, I should say, you were telling us that you were getting into some pretty big names.
Yeah.
I know you threw out one.
Yeah.
James Taylor's cousin.
Yes, Keith Taylor, amazing, really good friend of mine.
But now you were talking about getting into some names that would blow your minds if you're out there listening. But we're not going to tell you right now. Because first we have to give tribute.
Stephen Kono and George Jauss will be back in seconds.
Right now we are with George Jauss. Before the break, we got into you, sir, and who you have linked up with over your solo project.
Yeah, I owe all the credit to Keith Taylor, who's the producer on Running Free. He hooked me up with Lee Thornburg from the Tonight Show band. He was with Jay Leno for a really long time until they had all that stuff happen. But
yeah,
he's still I think he's on another show. I don't know. I don't remember the name, but he's still out there doing his thing. Lee's worked with everybody you can even think of in the business. Steve McClintock, I worked with him on a song. He's a heavy Nashville writer. He's also with Fertitta McClintock. Bob Spickard from the Shantays, great surf band.
Seriously.
Wrote the song Pipeline.
Yeah.
And he's on one of the tracks. And Roger Gillespie, he lives in Hesperia, but he plays for Clint Eastwood. So he's done it too. And Hal Ratliff, who played with the Righteous Brothers.
So you've been linked up for the style of music you play with your solo act and also the reggae, the Messenjahs. That's really a good solid group to be surrounded yourself with.
Yeah.
How did you get? Is it strictly through Keith Taylor that happened?
Yes. For some reason he liked me. I don't know what it was. But,
well, how can he not like you? Look at you.
But he brought in all his heavy hitters. We used to joke around in the studio and we call it the A-Team. And then these guys, they would come through, and there's a guy named Rick White that's on the album who play a lot of the lead guitar on there, and Rick Dale as well. I got to give a shout out to Rick Dale, and Lisa Spickard also. Rick White would come in there, and he'd play guitar on my tracks, and I would just want to jump out the window because it didn't want me to play guitar. I didn't want to play anymore, And it's funny, we call it the A-Team, and Rick White would come in there, and he'd be like the Mr. T, He would come in there, and he would just shred. And if there's any possible contenders, he'll stomp them. So
I bet.
Yeah.
Seriously,
he's a great player.
So Keith Taylor produced the Running Free album.
Yes.
George Jauss and the Messenjahs is currently working on an album, like writing and songwriting.
Right.
Do you plan on having him do an album for the Messenjahs as well?
We've talked about it. It's really when it comes to recording, it's always about schedules, and he's definitely game for it. I've talked to him about it before. If nothing else, he might end up mastering it.
Okay.
Which is he's awesome at that. So, like I said, he's mastered for Pink Floyd, the Stones, Frank Sinatra, like just big names.
Yeah, those are bigger than big names.
Yeah, I have to say, when I was making that album, I thought I was in a year-long dream. When I woke up and I was back in Victorville, I had to listen to it for a few days to make sure it really happened. So,
I mean, he's helped you out a lot.
Definitely.
Does he also provide you with lyrics, or you, like you said, you wrote lyrics since you were 13? Do you strictly write for your band?
Yes, I do the songwriting, and then I come in there and they help me compose everything. So same thing with Keith. Like, I did the songwriting, and he came up with a lot of great ideas, and I trusted him and went with it. It worked out.
Yeah, that's really cool. Actually, right now we're going to go back to another song from George Jauss and the Messenjahs. It's called Loving You Every Day.
Wanna tell you that I love you before I start my day.
And that was Loving You Every Day from George Jauss and the Messenjahs right here on Coyote Radio. You're listening to Lunchtime Live, and it's about that time, sir. 1 o'clock has come that fast.
Wow, am I dreaming? I'm going to have to go back to my regular life? It's been great.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you have to do that. But For the we're actually going to get into one more song of yours.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's called That's When You Know.
That's When You Know.
But we're only going to get into a little piece.
That's all right.
For anybody who wants to listen to more George Jauss and the Messengers, how can they get a hold of you?
The best way right now is to go just go to Facebook and type up George Jauss in the search, and it'll bring it up. We're getting some new music on there, and just add me as a friend so that I can keep you posted when we're playing. And if you have any questions beyond that, just you can get a hold of me through Steven at the station. Oh yeah, absolutely. But for the most part, is it just Facebook right now that you guys? Yeah, because no one was really. I heard MySpace kind of fell
faded
down. Yeah, so just Facebook right now. We're working on a new website. The domain name is georgejauss.com, so keep checking back for that. It's in the process. georgejauss.com, and then Facebook / just type in George Jauss. They made it all complicated on Facebook, so just type in George Jauss in the search engine. There's only one of them, so. For sure. Well, I appreciate you coming down here all the way from Victorville. Man. I'm glad to be here. Having you on our show, I appreciate it a lot. You are listening to Coyote Radio, Lunchtime Live, George Jauss and the Messengers right here.